love, what's up? Welcome to Confidently Uncomfortable. I'm your host, Jago, health and lifestyle coach and not so regal confidence queen. Coming at you with the real, the raw, and of course, the uncomfortable. My mission is to show you that to be confident, it has absolutely nothing to do with being perfect or having it all together, and everything to do with you getting uncomfortable and pushing your limits. Thanks for joining me. Let's dive in. Okay, so you might not know this, but once you're a client of mine, once you're in the BCB program, you are with me for life. So I have kept in touch with my girls throughout the entire time, even years after they complete BCB. And I wanted to do some interviews just to kind of touch base and talk about their experience. And so the first one I wanted to introduce you to is Erin Bogdan. She actually, when we are talking in this interview, she's just finishing up her last couple of weeks in the 12-week Body Confident Blueprint program. And I love this experience because she shares about just her journey, and she is actually a mindset and confidence coach. So I think the thing that's really powerful about her story is that she gets so much out of this program, even as a coach herself. I think so many people feel this fear to ask for help and to reach out, and even coaches need coaches, even people who feel like, I know what I need to do, but having that support, that accountability, and that guidance makes such a difference. And that's what I like to provide in Body Confident Blueprint. I'm all about you tapping into that confidence you already have within you. So I'm looking forward to you hearing her story, her journey over these past 12 weeks, and cannot wait to introduce you. Here's Erin.
Hi, everyone. Yes, my name is Erin Bogdan, and I am a self-love and confidence coach. So you might be wondering, why the hell am I in BCB? But hey, coaches need coaches, right?
Yes, coaches need coaches. Actually, fun fact, over 50% of my upcoming round are all coaches. So it is very normal for coaches to need coaches. I love it. So Erin, I'm really looking forward to you just sharing a little bit about your own journey throughout these past 12 weeks. And I know a lot has happened in our story. We could go really anywhere, but where were you at in your journey, your personal journey, before you started BCB?
Yeah, so I definitely, I want to kind of back up a little bit further
Yeah,
than
go for
that.
it.
That is related to my overall relationship with food and my own body, right? So I was very always in a cycle of restricting, like dieting, binging, dieting, binging, dieting, binging. And then I started with healing I went down this spiritual path of healing a lot related to my own, I would say, core childhood wounds and different trauma. And that kick-started again in last year, brought up a lot around binge eating. And the binge eating was really just a mirror for what feelings were I stuffing down and suppressing that I didn't want to face and didn't want to allow to come up. And so when I came into, before working with Jago, I was working with someone around food recovery and intuitive eating. And so after years of restricting and trying to make myself fit into the image of what society tells us to look like and how we should show up and where our self-worth comes from related to our body image and our body weight, I went into again, the total opposite of just listening to my body and allowing myself to eat whatever I wanted to eat when I wanted to eat it. And then I came into connection with Jago, where I wanted to actually find the balance to mirror or match the educational component of nutrition, because I had no knowledge around macros, and matching and gaining an understanding of macro and what my body truly needs to feel good, with a balance of the intuitive eating, and to dive into more self-love with my body and acceptance of where I am. So that's where I came in, and that's where I'm where I'm ending is, in this moment today, I really haven't, I would say, weight aside, my intention was never around weight. My intention was to heal my relationship with food and with my body, and really to show up more confidently in my business. And so I was already confident before, but this just took me to that next level.
Exactly. And like you said, all coaches need coaches, and we're constantly leveling up. And I think something that's so great of you is that you came to a space of hey, I needed to have a period where I did heal my relationship with food, and I was just allowing to eat whatever I wanted and taking, like, basically throwing the rule book out the window. And we talked about this in the beginning, but loving yourself in that chapter and then also loving yourself through this, I think was so beautiful. What do you feel like was the struggle? You kind of hit on a little bit, that finding that balance between understanding what your body needs while still having that intuitive side. What was the biggest struggle with that journey before BCB? And then kind of where you're at now.
Yeah, the biggest struggle, I think, is what I should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like what
Where
our
do I start?
mind tells us, how we should be eating, how we should be showing up. And actually, in reality, I realized that I was eating a lot less than I should be eating. So
Yep.
the macros really, really help, because I'm like, wow, I'm eating so much, and it felt really good and felt really empowering. And to realize like how much I was unconsciously even restricting, because I came from a family where it was like, you were always eating too much. Like, you don't want to eat that. It's not good for you. And changing your relationship around food, what's good or what's bad. So I think just all of my old limiting stories and limiting beliefs around food, and really having, quite honestly, no like nutritional insight or awareness as to what really fuels our body and makes us feel good.
Exactly. And I think seeing how you were able to really mesh the two throughout your journey was such an amazing experience, because a lot of healing had to go on when it came to the macro tracking side of things, right? And I think that was a big part. I think a lot of people come to with this fear of like, I don't want to start another diet. So how did you work through that with yourself? How did we work through that together? I'd love to hear a little bit more about that experience.
Yeah, it's a really good point, because in the beginning, I'm going to be honest, I had a lot of resistance with my Fitness Pal, because my Fitness Pal brought back,
it's like a trigger.
Yeah, a big trigger of literally counting calories and restricting, but you always grounded it in reminding yourself, why are we doing this? And the why was around educating ourselves so that we could move forward from an empowered place. And that was really important. And also for me, you know, I let go of the need for this to be about weight. I you know, you were very flexible. You wanted the program to be whatever I wanted it to be. And so, you know, when it came to progress pictures or weighing myself or measurements, like none of that really happened, because it was like, that's not what this was
your
about
choice
for me. This was about you know, healing my relationship overall with food. So it was honestly in the moments of being triggered, as a coach myself, knowing that it's okay to ask for support and to also share, you know, vulnerably and openly how I was feeling, and having you be receptive to that, which you were always very accessible, very open, always very supportive.
You're so sweet. And I think the cool perspective is you were coming from a coach perspective of like, okay, I'm seeing how I can take this lesson and apply it to my life and see it as like a learning, and not so much of like, this is a trigger, this is bad, like I have a bad relationship with the X, Y, and Z, so that means I need to just completely turn away from it. You're able to really work through it and decide on your own what works best for you, whether it's like not measuring, not tracking, whatever works well for you. And so I would love to hear just like, you're rounding up towards the last couple of weeks through BCB. So I know this is hard to put into like small format, but like, how was your experience throughout BCB? Like, what were the biggest wins you felt like you had during the program? I could brag on you, but I'm going to make you brag, because that's one of our challenges, is to celebrate ourselves, right?
Yeah. And actually, before we go there, I just wanted to touch on one other thing that you just shared that kind of sparked another thought, is that in those moments of being triggered, it was really important to recognize the part of us that exists because we are hurting, right? Like the part of me that was restricting myself and that was you know, so focused in the past on size and weight, was the part of me that was just seeking love. So it's really important to give that old version of us, to acknowledge that version of us, and to see that version of us, and then to give love to that version of us, and know that, you know, she serves a purpose and she's not bad. She's actually trying to get our need for something met. And how can we meet that need differently? And so that kind of goes directly into your question, is like, what was the wins for me? So something that I really struggled with, even as a self-love coach, like I'm deepening in my own practice, was really radically taking care of me. And I have a almost 3-year-old. And when I came into BCB, I had no routine, because I went from
what is that?
I went from literally corporate America the year or two before that, where I had a very structured work day. I had care set up to being an entrepreneur and a mom. And related to that, it's like, you know, people in my life were that I'm grateful to have my family help out a lot and watch her. But it's like, you don't need to be in at 8 a.m. anymore. So like my work day starts a lot later. So I would find my mornings being
Boundaries got pushed.
chaotic. Yeah, so chaotic. And really not having the clarity around like, how do I actually get crap done? Like, how do I find the balance, find the harmony with being a mom and being an entrepreneur? So you really, really helped me work through that. Today I have an amazing routine, morning and nighttime. And
yes,
the
you
key is
do.
like, you know, you always had to remind me of this. We're not striving for perfection. We're striving for what works for us. We're being flexible. And like today is a great example of that, where, you know, I aim to get up at 5:36 in the morning, get one thing done, do my meditation, do my stretching. But sometimes Savannah just likes to get up early. So, you know, I'll get something in and then make it okay to get, you know, be flexible and move those things around. And I've also prioritized movement, which to me also was a really big shift, because movement before for me was always like, I need to work harder, I need to push harder, I need to be, you know,
grinding,
being super intense with my workout. Exactly. And now it's like I listen to what feels good for my body and what actually excites me. And with that mindset, it's like I feel really empowered to go. Like I love working out now, right? Like I don't dread working out because I'm doing movement that actually feels really good, that fuels my soul, that fuels my body. And through that movement, I also get inspiration for my own business and content creation that, you know, really, really spawns that for me. So I think I'm trying to think, those are the two biggest things. And caring, you know, caring for you when you fill up your own cup, you can't pour from a cup that's not full, basically.
Yeah. It's so true. And so I think a lot of times people, like, your story is so inspiring because there are so many moms and then there's so many entrepreneurs who are like, I have to put everything, like you said, I have to pour everything into my daughter, into my child. And if I pour into myself, then I'm taking away from my child. Or with our business, it's like, no, I need my business to grow. And if I take my focus away from my business for a second to focus on my self-care, like, that would be bad. Like, that would mean I'm missing out. So I want to hear about that with your journey and how investing and pouring into yourself, like what impact did that make on other areas of your life?
Yeah, I would say I listened to a podcast recently and it was all about peak performers, right? And the one thing that we can control is how we show up, and we can control ourselves. And what peak performers do really well is they first pour into them. You know, they make sure that they're eating foods that are going to fuel them, like be nutritious. They make sure that they're getting enough sleep. They make sure they're drinking enough water. Like all this is very basic stuff, but we fail so often to do it because it's like when we are running from one thing to the next, the first thing that we let go of is ourselves, is caring for us. We let go of caring for ourselves so that we can pour into other people. But I love the analogy, when you're on an airplane and the oxygen mask drop, you put it first on yourself instead of, you know, in order to help someone else. Now I'm like, what was the question?
Just about when you made that decision to actually invest that time, invest that money, invest in you, how did that impact ultimately everything else in your life?
Like number one, you can't do like, we like to think as women, and even not as women, but we like to feel like we can do things on our own, that, you know, we take pride in being independent and not needing any help. And that in and of itself is a trauma response, right? Because if we can just be independent and you know, do not need any help, it's like we get to prove our worth. We get to say, look at me, I'm doing this shit, you're not here. Sorry, excuse my French.
No, you're fine. Explicit content here, people.
You know, we can get a sense of worthiness from being independent, but it takes a lot of courage and a lot of strength to say, you know what, I don't necessarily know what I'm doing and I could use your help. And a lot of times coaches have walked through the fire before you, and they can really help lead the way. So I always look for people that are authentic, that have, you know, have integrity, and that have like experienced the journey themselves. You know, those are the best teachers.
I love that. Oh, I feel like I'm going to church. I feel like you're just preaching everything in such a beautiful way. And it's something that people need to hear. Women, everyone needs to hear this. And the fact that you are doing this in your life and showing up, and also showing up as a coach and saying, hey, like, I think it's so beautiful to see coaches that are actually showing up and saying, hey, like, even if you do know, like you came in knowing a lot, like you have amazing experience, you've done a lot of mindset stuff, but being able to be like, hey, I want someone that's gonna like help me through this and really like support me through this as I'm going even deeper, as I'm leveling up even more. I think that's so powerful, Erin, and it says so much about you, and it's why you're such an amazing client. And I know we're gonna be tight for life, so I'm not worried about that. But what do you feel like? I think the last question I want to ask you, because I know you got plans, is what do you feel like makes Body Confident Blueprint different than anything you've tried in the past when it comes to this program?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. One, I feel like is definitely the support. Well, should say start with like it's tailored to you. It's tailored to what you want to get out of the experience, right? Like every one of the girls that comes into the program is going to have different intentions, and it's like, what do you want to get out of this experience? I also feel like I said, it's really critically important to have someone that is authentic. Like I love that, what you see, what you see is what you get, basically.
Amen.
And so like if you're vibing with Jago already, it's like, you're gonna have that rapport with her that's really, really important, because it's like you feel like you're just this long lost soul sister, right? And that's really critically and important. And then also it merged for me. What I really liked with you is that I've always thought about things are black and white, right? But it's like there's a lot of gray. And so a lot of times in the fitness world, it's like there's kind of two components. Either you're eating intuitively or you're like dieting and you're focused on your macros. But it's like you can have both. You can merge the macro. You can merge the educational piece with listening and honoring your body. And the biggest part for me is like making those two things click with one another. And I talked about this with my own experience with going through my own coaching program to become a coach. It's like I had to learn all the tools and the skills to be able to facilitate transformation in people's life. And then you forget them. And then you drop into what does your body need? What's your intuition guiding you to do? And it's like a kind of melding of the two. But in order to get to that place, you first need to know the basics. You need to go back to the basics. And I had no knowledge of the basics. So this really helped with that. And then the support, even though it is a group coaching program, I always felt connected to you. I always felt like I had your ear, that you were very supportive. And to me, it was the best of both worlds, because you get to be a part of a community of women that are experiencing same things and listening to what they're going through and offering guidance and support. And also they're, an ear for you to listen or lean on, and a shoulder to lean on, and share your own struggles.
Oh, you've been awesome. Like, I already feel like we're about to do a podcast together, by the way. Like, this already feels like we're starting one. But I just appreciate you, Erin, just being so real. And it's one of the reasons, like, I think that, like you said, like we find people that are similar to us and have that vibe. And I think just you have just shown up for yourself so much more. You've shown up more in your business, and you're showing up more for your clients. And all coaches have coaches. Listen, I got a coach too, so you know that. And so being able to just continue to level up for yourself in such an amazing way, and how it's making an impact in so many other avenues of your life. I'm just super proud of you, and I'm thankful you could be here tonight. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, awesome. I super appreciate you, Erin. Thank you guys for being on. Erin, I appreciate your time tonight, and I will see you on tomorrow's call.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks again for listening to Confidently Uncomfortable. I love being able to connect with you here, and honestly, don't want it to end. So head over to my Facebook group, Body Confident Blueprint, and be sure to follow me on Insta at JagoFitLife. Also, if you're ready to get real confidently uncomfortable, go leave this podcast a 5-star review and email me the review screenshot, support@jagofit360.com, for a chance to win a free 30-minute fitness audit and goal setting session. I appreciate your support. See you next time.